All right, hello everybody. Welcome to our Ninja Turtles talk. We're doing a second turtle sweep for some reason. It's been like 2 months in the making. So we're talking about the first two Michael Bay movies on this episode of Semi Pro. And we're back.
Yeah.
I hate this show. Why do we do this?
Yeah, that's what
I
I
don't
think.
know.
That's what I'm saying.
You keep threatening
just
to
a
dock
fun
my
fact
pay if I
for-
don't.
Yeah, we're not getting paid.
I need that 3 cents, man. Shit, come on.
Hey, go on, speak for yourself. Those 2 cents you're paying me.
Yeah.
Just a fun fact for all
That's
two
good.
people.
Yeah. Tell them that it's 2. Yeah, really, it's 3 each. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, I'm gonna get that raise.
Yeah,
To
I'm gonna
all
give
two
Daniel a
of the people-
raise. Not
all
you,
2 of
Josh.
the people who are listening to this. This is our third time trying to record this godforsaken podcast.
That is true. Yeah.
This is
All
the
right.
third time doing a plot breakdown for the first Michael Bay Ninja Turtles movie.
Yeah.
The first time we tried, I
just, like, it
say
just
we don't
scratched
even
all
do a
together.
plot breakdown. We're just gonna talk about what we liked from the movie because we've already
It's fine.
done
The
that
first-
once
the first,
10
the
minutes
first
ago.
plot breakdown is just the 90s movie.
Just
You've
watch the
seen
90s movie. Yeah.
So
Or
we-
just
we-
Or watch our
the movie
episode
we're
on the 90s movie
We
episode.
did this the first time, and my whole computer crashed and just would not it shut off during the recording. Lost all the stuff, whatever, and we decided we're not doing this again. This is stupid, and I hate it.
Yeah.
And
Then we just stopped doing the podcast for like a month. That really broke our spirit.
Yeah, and then we went the next. We decided, all right, we'll do the first 2 Michael Bay movies as one episode, and we'll just do it next week. But then your computer quit on you,
Yeah.
Daniel, and then you had to order a new computer and get a new computer in, and that's been a month leading up to
Yeah.
this moment. We watched Michael Bay
And we're
Turtles
back.
2. We watched
yeah,
the
we're
second one.
back.
When we're back. We watched the second one like today.
like today.
Like today.
But we watched the first one a month and a half ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe that's a sign that we shouldn't do a second turtle sweep.
Probably.
Yeah, this is just a signal from
But
the universe.
these 2 Michael Bay movies, I'm really glad we had a chance to watch because I had so much fun watching
Yeah,
them.
no, they are
Yeah, that
genuinely
is true.
such
That is
fun
true.
movies.
The podcast has been the only problematic part of all this. Movies
Yeah,
themselves-
really,
We
we're
should
the only
just-
problem.
We should just start watching movies with each other and then talking
Yeah.
about them.
Yeah. It's a good idea.
But yeah,
Do we have
No,
to
the-
put
the
that
first
out on the
movie-
internet?
No, I mean, no one's listening to it.
It's
Yeah.
true. It's true.
Other than my dad. Shout out him. I don't know
Yeah.
why I did that. He's not dead.
shout
I'm
out Daniel's dad. You're a real one. I'm
You
there
are
in
a
heaven.
real
I hope
man.
you rest easy, buddy.
Miss you, man.
But yeah, no, the first Michael Bay Turtles movie is just the 90s movie. To the extent like both of them have the exact same plot of Shredder and the Foot Clan are on the rise, the Turtles fight them, we figure out who the Turtles are introduced to April O'Neil, the Turtles fight the Foot Clan, and then one of them gets injured, and then they get all back together again, and then they fight the Shredder and win at the end of the movie. Like that's
And they fight. In fact, they fight the Shredder and win by pushing him off of a giant skyscraper again.
well,
Yeah,
it
well,
wasn't
no,
a
in the-
skyscraper in the first one, but
Yeah, and in the first one, they didn't beat him. It was
yeah, it was
Yeah,
whatever.
it was
But no,
Splinter.
It was-
it's
it was-
Splinter
it
in
was
this
a
one.
broomstick.
Casey Jones. It
It's
was Casey
Splinter in
Jones,
this one too,
technically.
isn't it?
I don't think. No, it's them
No,
working
I
as a
don't think so.
team.
No, because they do the hopscotch thing.
Yeah,
Right.
they do the tuk-tuk.
Which Splinter abused them into doing,
correct. Yeah, so in a sense, yeah.
in a sense.
Yeah.
Innocence.
But yeah, no, the first Turtles movie in this series is correct. The CGI looks great. The designs are, the costumes are great. The designs are there.
There's something. These
there's
turtles, they're good. I will say that
Look,
they're good.
it is
These are
always going to
these
be-
turtles are ugly.
It's gonna.
they're
It's
ugly as
always gonna be
shit.
tough to make, especially now in a day and age of like pure realism from CGI. It's gonna be tough to
Mhm.
make the turtles look, cute and huggable.
No,
But
it's not. Injustice did it.
Injustice
You
isn't
just
really
take the '90s design and do it with CGI to make it look a little better. Like it's not that hard.
right. But like I
They
appreciate what
turned
they were
them into
going for here.
giant
It wasn't.
monsters,
They did. They made them monsters. Yeah.
They turned
They
them
made
into
them
Doomsday
ugly
from
on
Batman
purpose.
versus Superman.
Right. Yeah, but they had to for this movie because then they showed the shot of Mikey and he was crying and it made me sad.
and it made me sad. Yeah, it's true.
But
That's
yeah,
facts.
no, the movie has like, it's kind of a shame because the things that it does add on from the '90s movie are really good. Like the sequence of them going down the mountain and that whole like action
Mhm.
scene of them snowboarding
Yeah.
on their
Raph
on their
says
shell surfing.
numbnuts.
And
Yeah,
Raph says numbnuts.
Yeah.
and you totally remembered that. You didn't need somebody to
Yeah.
tell you.
Yeah, no, I've remembered that for a month.
Yeah.
like that stuff's really great, and it makes for a great movie. It's just the rest of it is the '90s movie that you've already seen.
Yeah,
And
but
only
I don't
has,
think
like, a
that's
certain
bad.
charm to it. It's not that it's bad, but it's like the '90s movie has such a specific charm to it that when you're trying to
Yes.
replicate that, you're not going to do
It doesn't replicate the charm of the '90s movie. It's very much a Tobey Maguire Spider-Man 2002 and the first TASM movie situation, where they're both good, but there's like this beautiful charm to that first Maguire movie that the first TASM can't have. Like it just never could. But they're based off of the same origin story of the same character.
The part of the charm is the fact that it was the first to try and do that. And so in doing so, you're
Maybe
gonna
so.
have
I don't
this,
care.
like-
That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about just like, the first one. It's got this like nostalgic charm to it.
There's something about it.
Josh drinking his big square bottle of water. Yeah.
my loose bottle.
Like I don't know. There's just something very specific and exciting and charming about
part of
that first
charm-
movie.
Part of that charm is the fact that it was shot as like this R-rated, like the same thing with Scooby-Doo, where it was this R-rated movie that got cut down and re-edited to be this PG-13 fun thing for kids.
PG, I think, but
Is it
regardless,
PG?
I think
Oh,
so.
well. But yeah,
But
like,
but yes.
it's the same thing, It's like that creates a very specific tone to a movie that you're like, as Turtles 2 and Scooby-Doo 2, both of which are fine. Well, Scooby-Doo 2 is great,
Scooby-Doo 2 is great. Turtles 2 is
but
the second best Turtles sequel to a Ninja Turtles movie.
but it's you can't replicate that when you try to. So
Right.
when you're trying to remake something that has that kind of energy, you're just not going to get to it as much. The modern aspects that they add to this are quite good. In that well, the action's great because action movies has come a long way since 1990. Obviously we say a lot. The CGI is great. So we looked this up. Well, I looked this up for the second one. ILM worked on the CGI for the second one, and I have to assume that they worked on the CGI for the first one because
I remember the CGI in the first one. I remember us talking about it. We didn't talk about it nearly as much as we did for the second one. So
Yeah.
there was clearly a step up.
Right. But like it's still really good for the most part. There's like I remember a couple of scenes where it was
There were a
lacking.
few scenes in that first one during the movement and stuff where they were a little rocky. But all in all, the thing that shines from that first Turtles movie, or the first Bay Turtles movie,
Yeah.
the thing that shines is the Turtles. They're great.
Yeah,
They're some of the
that-
best versions of these characters we've seen on screen.
That's something
ever.
that both these movies get right. Is
Quit talking about the
the
second one, Josh. We're
attitudes
gonna,
of the
we're gonna break
Turtles.
down the second one.
Shut up.
Yeah.
Like, it's the attitudes
Just let it
and
breathe.
more specifically the relationships of the turtles. Like you feel like they actually give a shit about each other.
Yeah.
They feel like actual brothers, and that
That's
they'll
the
have
thing,
these
yeah.
arguments,
They
and they'll
feel
turn around
like-
and.
Yeah. Like their relationship feels very brotherly in the way they interact. Both,
Like,
the
yeah,
good,
that-
the
like,
good
you know,
times and the bad.
They'll insult each other, but there's care to that insult.
Yeah, there's love in the insult,
Yeah,
I don't know that they super feel like teenagers, but I think they do enough.
they well,
they have the turtles problem of feeling like old men pretending to be teenagers.
right. Well, it doesn't
Mhm.
help that they look like monsters, and you kind of forget that they're meant to be
Right,
teenagers because
right,
they're these
yes.
giant hulking creatures.
Yeah, that's something
Um,
when we're talking about the second one, I'll talk about this a little more detailed, but there's the scene where Raph's like, "Did you think that a few teenagers could really take down that bad guy?" And I'm like, "Oh, they're teenagers.
Oh, yeah,
I
they're
forgot. This is a
teens, yeah.
grown man speaking to me right now."
Right. This is
It's
Jack
like-
Reacher.
Yeah.
This is like a 6'5", 36-year-old
Oh, yeah.
man right now. And then Johnny Knoxville voices Leo in the first one. That's even rougher because it's like Johnny Knoxville I think he's like in his 40s, but he might as well be in his 80s with how much abuse and drugs his body's taken over the years.
Yeah.
So you hear Leo try and do these like teenager lines, and you're just like,
This is a 40-year-old man.
this is Johnny Knoxville. He's about to like kick Wee Man down the stairs or something.
He's the
Yeah.
weakest part of the cast from the first one. The rest of the voice cast is great. He is great. But
Yeah, no, like he's good. It's I don't know. I think it's very obvious it's Johnny Knoxville.
yeah, very
Right.
much.
that kinda-
that's the
kinda
issue, is
throws
that Johnny
it.
Knoxville has this specific voice.
And
so
even
can
if
tell
you
it's
don't
Johnny Knoxville.
know who Johnny Knoxville is, you're still like, "Oh, I know that voice."
Right, exactly.
Mm.
Because
And-
like I didn't recognize that it was Johnny Knoxville right away, but I recognized that I knew the voice.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and I think he was their first choice, and then he said no. They got the guy who did it for the second film to do it, and then he came back and said, "Oh yeah, well I'll do it anyway." So you got this kind of with all the others, because they're played by their voice actors. There's like they feel like coherent characters. But Leo, there's just this slight disconnect between them because you got this guy who came in after the fact and just said all of his lines into a recording booth and wasn't there on set, so he doesn't get that
Yeah,
connection.
maybe. I don't know. I don't notice that as much as it just sounds like Johnny Knoxville.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, all that to be said, it's not horrible. It
Right,
just
right. It has its moments. Like there's just these glimpses of a movie that they could have made, which probably would have been better. But the movie itself is fun.
I like
it's
it.
A fun
I
blockbuster.
like the first one.
Yeah, yeah.
I really do.
And
It's got Dark Knight syndrome, right?
Right,
In
as much
that-
as I criticize it, it's still a great movie to watch. I'll probably rewatch it at some point soon.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's
I
got
don't know
Dark
about
Knight
Spin,
syndrome in
but-
that it was way darker than it needed to be because every
Yeah.
comic book movie after The Dark Knight decided to do like the dark gritty thing.
Yeah, the
But
Nolan
out-
effect.
Right,
Right,
the
right.
Nolan effect. Outside of that, I still like it's great.
But speaking of that, TMNT 2 Out of the Shadows
Is
did
the polar opposite.
kind
Also-
of opposite.
We're exactly to the point where we got in the first time we tried this.
Look at that.
Nice. It's like poetry. It rhymes.
It rhymes.
It's like
Um,
poetry. It sucks.
Yeah,
It's like poetry.
sir.
I can't write dialogue. So TMNT Out of the Shadows, I think, what was it, 2 years later it got released? And
yeah,
it's
I
got-
think so.
Yeah, it was
It's
like
got Scooby-Doo
2015.
2 syndrome, where it gave up on trying to be like a dark, gritty thing and just went, it's talking turtles, man.
Right. I mean, it's a talking dog.
I mean,
called-
it's a talking dog.
I mean, it's a
dog.
giant title and it's French coat.
I think the difference
Shout out
difference
Freddie Prinze
is
Jr. Best actor out
the first
I
movie
think Cool Soul
the
sucks too.
first Scooby Doo movie gave up on the more realistic dark gritty thing in editing. The first Scooby Doo movie did. And then the
Right,
sequel
right,
just
right.
replicated
And then the
what the post op of that movie was. Whereas this one was like
But what the finished
dark
product
gritty
looks
first
like.
movie. This movie has TASM 2 syndrome more than it has Scooby Doo 2 syndrome.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, TASM 2 syndrome, but it was at least written as a coherent movie.
It's the other side of the Nolan effect, where all of these movies tried to do the Nolan thing, and then the MCU was like, "Oh no, we're here too," and everybody's
Hey,
like,
movies
"Let's
are
do
fun
that."
now.
It's like,
Yeah.
it's like Ragnarok to Thor 2.
Well, it's like Skyfall to
What other comic book
Skyfall to
movies can be
Spectre
fun?
is one of those.
Yeah.
Iron Man
I'd say
1
No
to
Time to
Iron
Die to
Man
Spectre.
2.
Captain America
Yeah.
2 to Captain America 1, you got to switch it around. Captain America 1 is much more colourful than Captain America 2 is.
Yeah, I think that kind of falls apart.
I
there,
guess,
Josh.
man. You're kind of losing me.
Fan
but no,
four stick to
it's-
whatever the sequel of it would have been.
That one.
No, actually, no. That one works. It's the first half of Fan Four Stick to
Right,
the
to the
reshoot of
second
Fan
half
Four
of Fan
Stick.
Four Stick.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that one works. It's just its own thing.
That would have been great if Megan Fox just wore like her hair color, but it's just unnaturally dark.
Yeah, it's just very clearly a wig.
I still haven't
Superman.
seen Fan
He was the
Four Stick. I'm
first.
looking forward to that one.
He was the original, right?
He was the original, right?
The
The
original
original what?
superhero. No, Fan Four Stick is actually pretty fun. Like
No,
I disagree.
I was gonna watch it at some
yeah,
point.
it's I don't know. Like it.
I think we
I hate
said
Fan
that
Four
like,
Stick.
we'd watch it on call, something like that. So I've been.
The problem, like Fan Four Stick, I think would have been really cool to see. I don't know why I'm talking about this movie, but I
we got the time.
yeah, and it's I don't know. I
Fan
feel like
Four
I don't
Stick-
often get
Fan
to
Four
talk
Stick is
about
the
Fan
most
Four Stick.
underwhelming comic book movie of all time.
I
That
don't think
movie
that's
starts and then ends, and it's like nothing happens in the middle, and I'm just confused about it all.
Yeah, but Doctor Doom looks really freaking cool.
He does look
It does
cool.
have-
I do like the designs in the movie.
All the
does.
designs, his face came from the mask and it melted into it and it had a shot of it. It was so cool.
There's
And
that one
there was a
scene where
stupid and his name wasn't supposed to be Doctor Doom, and then they ad-libbed it in. And the
Yeah.
fucking,
Well, but it's like
Oh, yeah,
they set up all.
it was like a very clear.
It's like there's all of
is
this
it
setup.
like the guy says his name and his mouth stops moving and then it
No,
just
it
keeps
like
going
it,
Victor
it,
Von
cut,
Doom?
no, it cuts
cuts
to a
to a
shot
piece of
where like,
paper,
like
yeah.
he's talking, and then it cuts to a different shot. And he just says Von Doom.
Yeah.
It sounds like a MF Doom sample.
No,
I can't wait to
but the
watch
big thing with Fan Four Stick is it doesn't follow it doesn't follow a
22 episodes.
it doesn't follow a 3 act structure. It's not set up like climax and then payoff. it's set up and then like 10 minutes of payoff at the end. Hold on, let me put my glasses on so I can see. It's set up and then like 15 minutes of payoff at the end. But that's actually how, and it just feels weird when you watch it because we're so used to watching normal movies that when you
Right.
watch Fan
Tune
Four
into the Fan Four Stick episode,
Mr.
in, like, 10 weeks.
Mr. Fantastic in that movie is a racist and does brownface.
yes.
No, that's
Yeah.
true. He uses
That's
his,
exactly
like,
what I wasn't gonna word it like that, but I was gonna say he changes his face to look like another person.
Yeah. Well, it's, yeah, no, because they did the Mr. Because I guess that's the thing Mr. Fantastic can do. It
Right,
makes
yeah, that
sense.
makes
He can
sense.
stretch his face to
Yeah,
yeah.
it's great.
I've only
Yeah.
seen 2 clips from that film, and it's the one of Doctor
The Doctor Doom
Doom
scene.
the Doctor Doom scene,
Yeah.
and the one at the end where he goes, "Hey, I guess we need a name now," and the thing goes like,
Yeah.
"What about the Fantastic?" No, that doesn't work. It's just the 4 of us. Say that
Yeah.
again.
Hey, wait a minute.
Yeah, well, and then he goes to say it, and he goes, "That's it. We're the fan," and then it cuts
Yeah,
to
it cuts to
credits.
yeah.
Yeah, because they
So
saw Age of Ultron.
Yeah,
before
they saw the
wrote
ending
that
of Age
scene.
of Ultron, and then they just
And they went, "Oh wait,
we can do that too.
Like literally, they straight up. I didn't even realize till you said that they straight up ripped the ending from Age of
It's like-
Ultron
it's
because it's like
it
like
looks
they
like
go
the
to they
same
go to
place.
this like fancy new facility that looks exactly
yeah,
the
it looks
same.
like a gym."
It's just the 4 of us, or the 4 of them standing up there.
the 4 of us.
Yeah, they're on the,
The
same
4 of us.
platform that he's
I
on.
was there. I think I remember that.
Yeah, you're Johnny
Remember when I was
Storm.
in Fan
I'm
Four?
Mr. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Josh is the Thing, and Item is Sue Storm.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, TMNT 2 Out of the Shadows.
Oh yeah,
That's
what
it.
we're
We'll see you on the
talking
next one. All right, Josh, get the plot breakdown started. I'm gonna go tinkle.
like 2 weeks. We're a professional podcast.
about. Yeah. So yeah, what happens in this movie? I just watched this movie.
It starts off with like 20 minutes of just the turtles doing
You
their
want to go back to
thing.
talking about Fan Four Stick?
Yeah, so I've not seen Fan Four Stick, but I have seen the pictures of what's her name, Kate
The-
Mara. where
Kate
it's like
Mara,
her
yeah, the
actual
wig.
hair.
Yeah,
And it's like
it's
her
like
actual
it's so. I don't know. I love it for that. Though, like
hair. It's so
because
noticeable.
it makes it's yeah, but it makes it so Not that you need that to tell which scenes are the reshoots, but it just makes it so much more blatantly obvious, and it's so funny.
I I kind of love FemForce as an idea because I remember the guy who made it, Josh Trank.
Yeah,
he
Josh
did.
Trank. He's the Chronicle guy, right?
Yeah, he did Chronicle, and everyone loved
Mhm.
Chronicle, and they're like, "This is great." And they watched Chronicle's cracked.
Yeah,
and
no,
then
Chronicle's super fun.
He did FemForce.
That's one of the only found footage movies I like.
I'm a big found footage guy, but
Just it's not
he
my
did
thing.
Chronicle, and then he did FemForce, and people were like, "Oh, well, I guess he's not that good." And he was like, "No, it's all."
So then, yeah, then Shredder comes in, and he's got this cool new suit. We were-
Yeah. So FemForce, TMNT.
You haven't even started, have you?
No.
Fonzie, the third film by Josh Trank.
The Fonz? Henry
It
Winkler?
was. I think it's called Fonzie. It's about Al Capone in like his later years in
I don't
life.
care. What are you talking about? I don't care.
So TMNT Out of the Shadows starts on a cool New York City shot where we're painting in the city. It's by Alibaba Productions, as well as what was the other one?
And
Like,
movie
And
media.
Movie Media Corp?
something like that.
Yeah.
like Movie Media Incorporated.
It was like, yeah, movie media productions or something.
Yeah,
But by a load of fake shell companies.
yeah, basically.
But yeah, the movie starts off with like 10 minutes of just the turtles walking around New York doing their daily activities. Mikey wants to
What a weird way to word the opening of this movie. They're just walking
they're
around
on
New York. They're doing their daily activities or something.
They're on the Empire State Building. And then-
it starts off with them on the Empire State Building, and
Yeah.
then it goes to.
Well, they
goes to them,
skate
like-
off of it. They're doing,
they
like,
slide down
ninja
the Empire
stuff.
State Building. They do ninja stuff. Then they're
Then they're at a basketball game.
they're at a Knicks
they go to a
game,
Knicks
and they're
game.
they're in the
Also, I just want to mention,
what's it called? The Tron?
Jumbotron.
Jumbotron.
on this bit, I just wanted to mention Josh Trank's third film is called Fonzo, not Fonzie.
Oh, okay. Well, that
makes
more
it better.
sense. Yeah, because of Al
It's actual-
Capone's classic nickname, the Fonzo.
Its actual name was Capone, but Fonzo is the working title. So
Oh,
Yeah,
was that the movie with
Tom
Venom?
Hardy.
Tom Hardy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he played like an old Al Capone, and they keep it's basically the Irishman. Before the Irishman.
Oh, so it sucks.
It does. Suck,
I like The Irishman.
It does.
Of course you do.
The Irishman's just long. That's the only thing The Irishman has working
Yeah,
against
it
it.
sucks.
Oh yeah, and it has 2 million-year-old Robert De Niro.
Yeah,
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 like,
that part's not
kind of
great,
works
but
on
the
it, that
actual
they did
plot of it,
kind of
I
stuff.
liked it. It tugged at my heartstrings. It was about a guy getting too old,
goes
and
to- it
it
goes
hits
to,
at my
and-
midlife crisis I'm going to at 25 really hard.
You're
It has that scene where
23.
Robert De Niro goes to Shadinity.
I'm almost 24. 23 and a half.
okay. I'm trying to help you out here, man.
So anyway, the turtles
too
are
late.
mad that they didn't get any recognition for saving the city from Shredder.
Joe
'cause
Bluth is taking
took it.
all of them.
Oh yeah.
And basically the first.
Did we mention
part
in this version of the recording how much we love Joe Bluth in the
I don't
first
think so.
movie?
Not yet. Not
Probably
yet.
not. But
we'll-
yeah,
we'll get
Joe
to it.
Bluth is in it. He's great.
He's in the first
He-
movie and he's fantastic. He's just as good in this one, but his character gets
Yeah.
more
Right.
play in the first one.
Right.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
But he's
Basically-
literally just Joe Bluth from
Basically,
Arrested
the first-
Development.
the
If you haven't
first
seen
act-
Arrested Development, go watch it. It might still be on Netflix.
I
It
think
is.
it is because they own
is.
at least their seasons.
Yeah, I don't know. Josh tried to gaslight me and say they were removing
Well,
it.
Josh
They-
is an
they were-
idiot.
They were moving in, and then they came to a deal.
I guarantee you that's not true. They just didn't remove it, and Josh found out he was wrong, so he invented
Yeah.
that they made a deal
They
thing.
were going to remove it at one point. It's
I
a
do.
whole
I
thing.
do remember like looking it up when he said that and seeing some article about
There,
it.
there were
but I
articles
don't.
about it.
A giant freaking robot.
But we got this covered. But yeah, so the first act of this movie is just setting up that the turtles, or at least Mikey and Raph, are mad that they aren't getting any recognition, and they want to be able to walk out and go on the streets and be normal people.
Well, Raph wants recognition because he's like, "Yo, we defeated the Shredder. We should get our recognition."
Yeah.
And then Mikey's like, "I want to feel
He
loved
just
by
wants,
people."
yeah, he just wants love.
Mikey just wants love. He likes going out in the streets and talking to people.
Yeah, he daps up Bumblebee.
He does dap up Bumblebee during some
cool.
kind of Day of the
It was
Dead
like
parade.
yeah.
the one from Spectre.
Joe Bluth is
Sure.
taking all the credit, which was apparently an agreement that
That was that was their arrangement.
Which
And
he is
April
blown out of
O'Neil-
proportion in true Joe Bluth fashion.
Right.
Yeah.
April O'Neil is stalking and spying on Baxter Stockman, who's a scientist,
Who's a
who
giant
she believes
fly.
to be working with Shredder, which ends up being true. Shredder is being transported from one prison to another, and the Foot Clan are going to break him out. So the Turtles rock up in their new car, which looks cracked. It's very cracked. It's a garbage truck that Donnie outfitted, and it looks so sick. It's got all these neon lights. It's very cool. So they go to stop.
It's got flames to shoot out of it.
Yeah, it does
They
have
go to stop
flames.
this
It's got them
breakout.
flames, yo.
This breakout, which the car carrying Shredder has him, and it has Bebop and Rocksteady in the back with him, and a driver, and the other person in the car is Mr. Stephen Amell, the Green Arrow, Casey Jones himself, who is doing his best Mark Wahlberg impression the entire film.
Straight up.
It's
It's not even
like-
oh, he's kind of
only like-
talking like he's going, "Yo, we're here in New York. We're here in New York. I'm Casey Jones. I'm gonna win the day, guy." Like it's literally he's
It's
doing
literally just
Mark Wahlberg.
But yeah, so the Foot Clan, they take out the cars outside of the truck to eliminate all of the protection. The Turtles rock up. They do a few moves. They have these giant nunchucks built into like the side of the car, which Mike uses to crush some dude.
All of their
before getting them
weapons
caught
are
by Bridge.
included in the turtle van. Like all of them are included
Right,
in
there's,
what's built in.
At one point,
Yeah,
Shredder
these
gets
giant,
hooked to a helicopter, and they shoot one of the katanas.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Donnie just
you
looks
guys,
at Leo and he says, "Press the button." And then Leo's
Yeah,
like,
quiet
"There's
down.
a bunch of buttons!" And then he presses the button, and then it just launches this katana at the rope.
Did
It's awesome.
you guys talk about the giant nunchucks that came off the side? Yeah,
I
it
did
was
talk about the
cool.
giant nunchucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Mikey breaks them, and he goes, "Oh,
Yeah. He goes, guys.
guys, turtles."
Eventually, what happens? Oh, Stephen Amell yells at the
teenagers.
guy driving the truck for not being more prepared, even though he
ninjas.
can do all of it himself.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Stephen Amell's an asshole.
And
Stephen Amell is the weakest part of this movie, and he's fine, but he's not
Yeah.
great.
Right.
And he gets beaten up by Bebop and Rocksteady. Shredder tries to jump to a helicopter.
Bebop and
but
Rocksteady, who
Baxter-
are just people.
They're just people at this point. Yeah,
Right, they're just people.
They're other inmates being transferred. Yeah.
And Baxter Stockman at this point uses some alien technology he found to teleport Shredder. He means to teleport him to them, but he teleports him and he doesn't know where. And we find out he's been teleported to some alien planet where he makes Krang, a giant brain that looks like chewed up gum, as they say later.
Correct.
It's true.
What would have been, I think, a better way to do this if this weren't a movie for babies, and it is, and I'm okay with that, and I love it anyway.
But it's
I am a
pop
baby.
culture.
I am a
It's pop
baby.
culture.
I'm a baby who will suck up anything that has the Ninja Turtles in it and love it.
Right.
Josh, did you just sniff your water?
Yeah,
in there.
something tastes funky on there.
I think what would have been cool is if they had saved the Krang reveal for the end. Like he gets teleported somewhere we don't know where, and then
It's just
Shredder's
like a
got this
shadowy
mission
figure
and he's
talking to
looking
him.
for all the MacGuffins and we don't know why. And then at the end
Mm.
it's revealed that it's Krang, and then Krang like just says,
Then
"Oh,
he-
Shredder," you know.
I'm
I think
gonna
that
shred you.
I think that would have been a little cooler way to handle
Yeah.
Krang. But I don't
No,
mind
I
the way they
agree.
did it because it's for babies.
Right.
Right, and you need to spell out every aspect of the plot. But yeah, so that's the basic outline of the plot right now. Is that Krang has told Shredder that he needs to get these artifacts and put them together to build this machine.
The
to
egg
their
MacGuffins.
the
Correct, yeah.
MacGuffins, and the turtles
bacon,
have
egg,
to
and
go stop.
cheese McGuffins.
The
Right, ham and
turtles
cheese
have to go
MacGuffins.
stop Krang
Yeah.
and Shredder, all the while debating about this new goo that they found, which can turn them into humans, which Donnie
It's ooze.
demonstrates.
Come on.
It's ooze. Donnie
I think they
demonstrates
call it
by
goo
putting
in
it on
this
his
movie,
hand.
though.
No, it's ooze. They always call it ooze. Ooze is the
Donnie-
Ninja Turtles word.
Donnie drops a bit of the ooze on his hand, and it makes his fingers go from that to 4.
Yeah.
He can count to
Which,
4.
if you're just listening,
Yep, 4 fingers.
Yeah, 4 fingers and a thumb.
Right,
if
shit,
you're just
whatever, nerd.
listening, Josh had his fingers like Spock, and then he spread them into all of his fingers.
Yeah.
So
And yeah, that's the outline of the movie. It's just kind of it's a back and forth between Shredder trying to get these things and the turtles
Right.
trying
Yeah.
to
Well,
foil him.
Shredder's
But during
Shredder's
this
trying to pave paradise to put up a parking lot.
right.
During this time, Shredder demonstrates the power of the ooze by injecting Bebop and Rocksteady with them,
And they're
turning them
fantastic.
He shoots him with a
turning them-
double-barreled trank gun.
Right.
turning
Which is a
them
cracked
into
thing, but it
a
doesn't make sense.
rhino
But that's okay.
and a warthog. And it's also it's
Yeah.
got one of my favorite lines where Baxter Stockman explains, and he goes, "There's this animal DNA that's built into all of us."
Yeah, there's every single one of us has an animal ancestor inside of connecting us with our
We
our
all have a
animal
dormant.
past.
We all have a dormant
like,
piece of DNA connecting
yeah.
us to our animal ancestors. I think is the way it's worded.
Right. Yes. Sure.
It sounds like one of the
Yeah,
guys
yeah.
that Joe Rogan would just get off the street when he doesn't have time for a guest.
Right.
Yeah.
Like it's great. It's great. It's wonderful.
I
Baxter
would love to
Stockman
watch
just
Baxter
exists.
Stockman on an episode of Rogan,
Yeah.
or like
you-
Vern,
You're telling me that
Joe Bluth on
we
an
have
episode of Joe
animal
Rogan.
DNA
Tell me.
inside of us.
You tell me you turned yourself into a fly, man?
So, in theory, I could become like an ape man.
Look, man.
Have you ever had
Look, man.
DMT?
You think you could turn me into a giant ape like you turned that warthog and that
Wait.
rhino
So
into a rhino, man?
you injected these guys with this ooze and it turned them into these giant animals. I had an experience like that with DMT once.
So here's a question.
I smoked something. I thought I was an ape.
To move us a little
Yeah,
bit past
okay.
the Rogan conversation. Here's a question.
Sure.
If you were
What animal-
injected
what
with the
animal DNA
purple
do we
ooze,
have?
what animal would you turn into? I'm thinking I'm a fish.
I'm thinking I'm
I just feel awfully fishy sometimes, you know?
I get it.
Yeah.
I'd be something that lives in probably
Caves.
like a fox.
Nah, you'd be like a lizard or something, just living under rocks alone.
Yeah. No, you just.
I was trying to think of what an Arctic lizard would be, but best I got
Josh,
is
you'd be like a little shrew or something.
Josh just turns into a mushroom.
Yeah.
Salamander. Josh, you could be a salamander.
I'll
I
take
think I'd be
salamander.
like a ferret or like a weasel, something somewhere, one of those long
Meerkat.
rodents.
I don't know why, Dan. I
Meerkat.
just see it as like an otter.
Otter, yeah, also works long rodent-ish. Yeah, I'm a bit of an otter. You know,
Yeah, I
I'm
could
kind
see
of
you as an otter.
hairy. I'm kind of hairy, but I'm also kind of small.
Yeah, I could see you as an otter, Josh as a salamander, and me as a fish.
Yeah,
Cool. So
no,
we've got it
works
all worked out. We're all.
I'd love to see what
Good.
the
Like that.
horrifying mutation is that we would all become. Because you don't just turn into the animal; you turn into like
It's
a
like a
hybrid of that
humanoid.
animal and a human.
Yeah,
But yeah, so
I'd fucking
that's
die.
kind of
Yeah.
that's kind of the movie at this point. Is Bebop and Rocksteady are there? They keep saying "my man" and they just like fist bump every now and again.
That's great.
Yeah.
Their
Big belly
my
bump a
man
lot.
bit is fantastic.
Yeah.
They also they, at one point Bebop goes like, "Hey dude, do I look fat?" And Rocksteady goes, "Nah, man, you look
really fat.
And he like punches his belly. It's great.
Yeah, and he has a great line. He says, "That belly must be jelly, cause jam don't move like that."
Yes, sir.
Oh, that's so good. But yeah, so they eventually they steal another artifact from and the Natural History Museum.
Yeah,
Mikey and
they
Raph.
from the
Mikey and Raph
Hayden
decide. Mikey and Raph decide
penitentiary.
that they want to get the ooze because they want to be human, and so
Mhm.
they break into the police station to try and steal it. But the Foot Clan are already getting there, and so to
Mhm.
stop the Foot Clan, because they realize that's more important than staying hidden, they have to expose themselves to the world, and they get really hurt.
Well, no, they're not doing it because they want to stop the Foot Clan. They're doing it because they want the ooze, or Raph is
Right,
at
right.
least.
Raph
Right.
specifically, he like guilts Mikey into it
Right.
because he wants to
They're
become
They're
a
gonna get
human
away
man.
with you. Yeah, he
Yeah.
just
But then the police will see all of the turtles and they're like, oh, they're monsters. They look ugly. They look like trolls from Lord of the Rings.
yeah.
And so
Oh,
they get hurt by this.
They look like
and
they're gonna make me
April
pay a
and,
toll to get into the
Casey
boy's
Jones get
soul.
arrested to allow them time to escape. The turtles regroup. Eventually, they have to fly out to Brazil to catch Bebop and Rocksteady.
Mhm.
Uh,
Yeah, Bebop
Well-
and Rocksteady listen to War. What is it good for? Absolutely nothing.
And while they're flying out to get to Bebop and Rocksteady find the thing and already fly it back. So they have to, as their planes intersect, they have to jump out of their plane onto Bebop and Rocksteady's. And for the first three, for Leo, Mikey, and Donnie, it goes perfectly fine.
Yeah.
They jump, they land. But Raph's got a fear of heights, and he says one of my favorite lines as he's trying to psych himself up to jump out of the plane. He goes, "What would Vin Diesel do?" And then he jumps
Yeah.
off.
I
It's
live
pretty
by
great.
that.
That's what I'm living by now. But yeah, he jumps off and lands on the plane.
He
Luckily,
paves
They have a
paradise,
small-
actually,
True. Yeah.
They have
Then
a
that's something a
small-
little controversial. He puts up a parking lot, which I
Which
kind
is
of don't
weird.
get. But yeah,
They have
gotta do what you gotta do, I
a
guess.
small fight with Bebop and Rocksteady before naturally the plane starts going down because they're all giant monsters.
Well,
And,
yeah. Well, one of either Bebop or Rocksteady, I don't remember which one, gets on a
Bebop, I think.
minigun.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just sprays the entire plane
I
and
think it
just
was-
kills both the pilots.
I think it was Rocksteady, because I remembered him as a giant
Yeah,
rhinoceros
I
going.
think it
"Oh,
was
my
Rocksteady.
bad."
He goes, yeah, that's my bad. Because yeah, I feel like I
Um,
remember the funny Irish accent.
Yeah.
But yeah, the plane goes down, it lands in a river, and while they're trying to grab the artifacts, the turtles they're not working together well. They're all kind of too jumbled up and caught in their own minds. So eventually, Bebop and Rocksteady get away with the artifact, and they make fun of the turtles who go over a waterfall, and as they're falling, they all
Yeah.
retract back into their shells, and there's like a little.
It's the funny little
The
suction
pop
noise.
sound effect
Yeah.
was great.
It's great. I love it. Yeah. It's like a
Something.
yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, and then eventually on the plane ride back to New York,
That's it. That's
they
close.
come
That's
to
hold
was
on.
it,
Hold on. Hold
yeah.
on. No, I lost it.
Wasn't a poppy.
No.
No, it's got a pop.
That was close.
Kind of, yeah. Ooh, Josh's was
Yeah.
on it.
I think the combination of both of ours.
Yeah. Anyways,
Anyway,
they go down the waterfall, pop in their shells, and then they're safe.
and they survive. And on the plane ride back, they realize that they're not working as a team, and that while they're brothers, they're on a team.
Leo says, "We may be brothers, but we're certainly not a team." And right as he was about to say it, I said,
Yeah.
"Oh yes, we're gonna get an inspiring Leonardo speech." And then,
Yeah. He
That's
just
it.
does that.
And then he cuts, and he's
Oh.
gone. But yeah, they get back.
he
I
says,
think,
"You guys paved paradise."
I think Splinter gives them all like a little
He
sort
says,
of.
"Hey, I ain't no
Rousing
hollaback girl."
Splinter,
Yeah.
Splinter really doesn't do much in this movie. He just kind of.
Oh yeah, did we
He's
mention
very
that in this
supportive,
recording? In the
though.
first movie, young preteen Mikey dances to "Hollaback Girl" by Gwen Stefani.
Right.
Right, and but
As he should,
Splinter,
you know?
Splinter gives
who
Leo,
wouldn't really?
Splinter
Me.
gives Leo a nice little rousing speech, which makes him want to give another rousing speech, so they eventually learn to work as a team. And it's good timing too because Shredder has just brought all of the machine together, and Krang has opened a portal and is releasing his ship bit by bit into the air so he can reassemble it in our atmosphere. And the turtles realize no one on Earth, no human, could stand outside of the ship because it's got this like atmospheric thing, so it would kill you because of the way that our bodies work. So they have to debate whether or not it's okay for them to take the medicine because it will affect their outside, but not their inside.
Which doesn't
Which I
make
don't think-
sense, but
It does make sense, but
Makes
you
no
move
sense
past.
whatsoever. But yeah,
So they're like, do we take the medicine? Because, we'll look normal so people won't judge us so we can get up there. But it's not who we are. And Raph, who the entire time has been talking
he
about
was
how
mad at Leo
who's been
because
mad that Leo's been
he
making the
made a
decisions.
decision about the ooze without consulting
Leo
his
said
brother.
that there's
So
only
naturally,
one-
Raph makes a decision about the ooze without consulting his brothers and just chucks it at the wall.
and he
And he
does
throws
it
it
in
against
front
the
of them. Like
Yeah, and-
he just does it to their faces. He's like, hey, look at me, Mikey, Donnie, and Leo. See this? We could make a decision about this together. And then he throws it at the wall.
Yeah.
And they decide to come up on the street and talk to the police face to face, and the police go, "Okay, we need your help, so we'll work with you." They make their way up to Krang's ship.
Well, this is after
Krang-
getting Job to admit that he didn't do the
Right.
first saving
He admits
himself.
that he had some help.
Right.
Krang, in the meantime, has spoken to Shredder, who has betrayed Baxter Stockman and sent him away.
Mhm.
And so Krang then betrays Shredder and cryogenically freezes him and just places him in like a locker room with 1,000 other cryogenically frozen beings.
Yeah.
But eventually the Turtles make their way up to the ship. They try to fight Krang, who has the giant robot mech suit that just like destroys them easily.
Mhm.
But it's all a distraction because they're just trying to get Donnie to work on the computer so that he can do his magic and disassemble the ship before it decides to kill the Earth. And he realizes the
We
ship
don't really
follows-
know what's going on with the ship and the Earth. Like we know it's
Well,
bad.
No, at some
No, they say-
point, Mikey like hacks into one of them, and he's like, "Oh my God, these things are programmed to kill! Oh my
Yeah,
God, their master is Krang!"
They find
Yeah,
out
we
that
know
they,
that, but we don't know like what Krang's plan with the Earth is. We just know he wants
Well, Krang
everybody
just
dead.
wants to destroy the Earth. We don't know why.
Yeah,
He
it doesn't
just-
matter what he wants with the Earth if
Not
he's going
really.
to kill
It's just like-
everyone.
it's just
Like,
like
if
Yeah,
that-
that's the problem with
threat,
all these
that's the
movies. That's the problem with all these movies nowadays. You're trying to tell me what the villain wants, and you're trying to tell me how he's gonna get it, and you're trying to tell me like specifics. I don't need specifics. I just need to know that he wants us dead, and we want him dead. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
Yeah.
right. Yeah, I mean,
All you
he's a
need,
conqueror.
really.
He just likes to come to other planets and conquer them.
Right.
Right.
And so
Understandable. He's
he-
Krang the Conqueror.
eventually, Donnie finds out that the ship is being assembled around a beacon, so he sends Mikey to go grab the beacon.
Which is
Mikey
kind of a
uses his-
creative little thing. Not a ton of movies do that.
Yeah.
No, it's nice. And so Mikey skates up using his rocket skateboard to get the beacon. He grabs it, but Krang catches him and he starts giving him like a bear hug, and you can hear his shell cracking. But that's when the team decides to come together.
Well, I
And they
couldn't
say
hear his
no
shell
one-
cracking, and I don't think Daniel could hear his shell cracking.
Yeah.
We were watching over your Discord that was cracking.
Yeah,
and
I,
popping the
just
whole
I just
time.
heard cracking all the time. So yeah.
But the team comes together and they say, no one hurts Mikey, and so they knock the head off of the mech, and then Donnie like shocks it with his stick. It's very cracked. Great moves. And
And then I think
then
like
they-
Raph punches the brain.
yeah,
So yeah.
but then
Wish
they
somebody would
attach the
punch my brain.
beacon to a drone, and they just like fly it back through the portal so that the ship follows it all through the portal, and they save the day. They come down. They get knighted. They get given the key to the city.
They get
which-
knighted?
Yeah, they get knighted.
Oh, I love you, Josh. I love your British self.
They get given the key to the city, which Joe got given because of his services, but it's all them. So
And he
they
got
get
to
given
keep his, but really they should have taken it away.
right.
Yeah.
They get asked if people will probably accept you now, and they're like, nah, I'm good vibing. So they go to the top of the Statue of Liberty and they just cheer, having a great
Yeah,
time.
there's a great line though. So the police lady is like saying all their names, and she's like, "You guys got a last name?" And Raph just goes, "Not so much."
No, not so much. And then I think Donnie goes, "Yeah, we've never really thought about it."
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the movie ends with them, standing on the top of the Statue of Liberty, screaming out to the world because now they're heroes again. Great movie.
Yeah.
And then There's a great version of the original theme song that plays over the credits.
Yeah, and there's a fun little fade out to the credits. It fades out on a shot of them, then it turns to a little cartoony, and the credits are all cartoony. Very fun, great movie.
And the credits end with a recreation of the Boys cover.
Mm-hmm.
True. Yeah.
Well, the Boys cover recreated the ending of this movie.
the boys ripped off this. Yeah.
The Boys, which came out in 2005.
Yeah.
Nah. I've seen the boys, man. That started in like 2019. Man.
Yeah,
Come on,
nah,
don't
Carl
lie to me.
Urban's in that. In 2005, Carl Urban was like young.
He was like, yeah, he was like
He was-
Judge
he was-
Dredd, wasn't he?
No,
that
he
was
was
yet.
Doom.
No.
Judge Dredd wasn't
He was-
until like 2011,
Yeah, that was
12.
yeah,
That was
2012.
2013.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, it was 2013.
In 2004, I think he was in Lord of the Rings: Return of the King, and he would have been
Oh
shooting.
god, he
Doom.
was in Doom.
Best movie of all time.
You're right.
Yeah, he's in Doom. He's the Doom guy.
Yeah.
By that I mean, there's one part of the movie where it goes first person. It's great.
Me
yeah,
and
the
Josh
movie's
watched
fun.
this when this was
That's what I
just
would say
our
about
podcast.
Yeah, what a miserable
Yeah,
experience.
back before it was good.
Yeah, back before we had a consistent watcher, which is your father.
But yeah, no, the movie itself is fine.
May he
the
rest in
plot
peace,
is,
of course.
Yeah.
the
Rest in
plot
power.
is very, very similar to.
Hey, real quick, everyone who's listening, listen to the hold on, what's it called? It's my friend Andy's mixtape on Spotify. It's the Spooky Tape EP by Spooky Phantom. Look that up on Spotify. All 2 listeners. That means you, Dad.
And K Dog.
Yeah.
And Emery.
And
right,
Emery.
and Emily, yeah.
But yeah,
Dad,
the
K Dog, and
movie-
Emery, you better be listening.
The movie itself is a lot of fun. The
I think this
CGI in
movie's
it's
great.
So much better.
Yeah.
The
CGI is some of the best CGI I think I've seen
Yeah.
in a movie.
No, well, like when watching this movie, we couldn't go like 10 minutes without like
No,
like one of
admittedly.
us being like, "Oh my god, that is insane."
there's a lot of close-ups in this movie. It's very
Yeah,
claustrophobic.
yeah.
Every scene is like
Yeah.
here.
Admittedly, it
Um,
may be different if I watched it in like 4K on my TV and not over a Discord stream. I will say that.
Sure,
Well,
yeah.
Sure, but,
That's
I mean,
possible,
we watched
but-
the first part on your screen.
Yeah, but still, the version of the movie we were watching, we were only streaming in like 720 for me, so it's not like. What I mean is, it's not like you could see all the details, whatever. The CGI just does look really good.
Yeah.
No, the CGI is great. And it's not even
Oh,
like
the
limited
finger
to-
reminds me. Donatello in this movie. What are they
He's
doing?
such a nerd.
What are they
He
doing,
is such
dude?
a
It's
nerd.
like in the writers'
Everything
room for this
Donatello
movie,
said
they
was
sat
great.
down and said, "How can we?" But Donatello wasn't nerdy enough in the first movie. How do we make him nerdier throughout this one?
for the like if he was trying to say, "Oh, the pizza is hot," he would go like, the glutinous yeast extract.
the
The internal thermals of this one pizza pie from Italy was about 97.8 degrees Fahrenheit or 37.6 degrees
You guys know
Celsius.
that one Jimmy Neutron scene where he's like
the salt,
sodium it's like
Yeah.
no dude,
Salt
that's salt.
chloride?
That's salt.
Yeah. It's
I know,
like that
dude.
for the
I
entire
know,
movie.
dude. But if you say sodium chloride, people aren't going to
Actually,
understand what you mean.
Sodium chloride is different from normal table salt.
Great. People in this movie couldn't handle the Neutron style.
Yeah, no, that's true.
True.
But
but
the
Donnie
movie
was
itself
just
great.
so
I
nerdy
think
in this
my
whole
only real
movie.
complaint is there's not that many like combat scenes.
I don't have a complaint. This is the greatest movie of
my
all
only real
time.
complaint is that
I would put this movie up against
with the
any
first
movie
one-
that's ever taken home an Oscar, and I guarantee you I would like this one more.
with the first movie, there was a lot of fighting combat scenes. You know, the Turtles would fight a load of the Foot Clan soldiers, and in this movie, they don't really show that much of it. Like they have some fight scenes, but it would always cut to like, an outside shot, and someone just gets thrown through a window.
Yeah.
Until you got to the end.
Well, when they're fighting human beings, the turtles don't use their weapons in true Turtles 2 fashion.
Right.
I don't know. I love the pacing of this movie. I love the plot of this movie. I love the villains of this movie. I love the turtles. Like, I don't know. I kind of love
That's
this.
it. Most
I think I
most
just
of
love
my-
this movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
most of my complaints for this movie are closer to like nitpicks than
Mhm.
actual.
Which is on
complaints.
brand for you.
Yeah. The
I think this is the best Turtles movie since the first one in the 90s.
I think I'd agree with that.
I think this
Yeah.
is better than the first of these movies, which I think is the
It's better
second
than
best.
two. better than
It's
two
way
because of
better
the
than
hot
3
feet.
and 2.
That's not
And-
a tough feat.
Hey,
Um,
hey, come on. Three's a contender.
I don't think 3's a contender against this one.
What about
Yeah, maybe not against this one, or
What about
or the
TMNT?
first one of this, really. But
What about
I just
TMNT
want to mention Turtles in Time. It's fun.
Yeah,
Like
Turtles
Turtles in
in Time.
Time.
Hey, Daniel, you can have Turtles in Time, buddy. That one's all yours, friend.
That big dude, he was joinked as hell, man.
He was
No,
joined.
hey, nobody's gonna take Joinked Turtles 3 from you, buddy.
Trying
You
to.
can
They're
have
trying. They're trying to take my Turtles 3.
it.
They're
They're
trying to
trying
come
to
to my home and
frog's
take
gay.
it from me.
What about TMNT 2008?
I don't love TMNT 2008.
I will say I have
I
a
don't know
soft
that
spot
I've
for
ever
TMNT.
actually seen that all the way through.
Well, good, because we're doing that in this sweep.
I have a
I don't know. We got 2 more
soft
movies
spot.
to do, and I've only got one that that we've talked through.
Well, no,
I
we're doing
I have a soft spot for 2008.
cow,
It's the first
pronounced
Turtles movie.
cow.
Oh
too.
yeah, you're right. Or we could skip that and just do 2008.
Yeah, we could. We could.
We can do whatever we want.
Right.
We could. There's only 3 people watching this podcast. Shout out to you.
Yeah.
Shout out
Shout out,
Emery,
shout out
Daniel's
Dad, K-Dog, and
and
Emery.
K-Dog.
Shout out Dan's dad, K-Dog and Emery.
Yeah.
Real
Um,
ones.
No, but the next week we're gonna. I think final thoughts. We've kind of just done that. I love this movie. This is probably
And
my
final
second
thoughts is
favorite
this
live
movie
action Ninja
is-
Turtles movie.
This movie is a lot of fun. It's just comic booky. It's nice. It's comforting.
This movie is what I wish comic book superhero type movies still were.
Mhm. Yeah.
No, I know this is a world-threatening threat, but it's also like one that still feels isolated because it's Krang, who's that character's specific villain. So it's a little different. But like I don't know. I just wish
Well,
that
like even though it's a world-ending threat, it doesn't get to the point where like
right. They stop
But
it.
like in a Marvel movie, the equivalent of this in a Marvel movie is Sokovia like being lifted up into the air in Age of Ultron. And in Age of Ultron, it starts coming down at one point. Like it's getting this close. Whereas even if Krang got all of his ship onto the planet, there would still be like a battle where
Right.
you could
There's
you could
no
stop
huge
Krang.
battle where everybody's got to fight everybody at once and all the characters come back at the end. It's just our heroes facing the bad guy. And like, I don't know. I miss this kind of movie and they just don't exist anymore and I'm a grumpy old man complaining, you know? So
Right.
what can I say? Next week we're going to watch a very different Turtles movie. We're going to be watching The Rise of the TMNT
Oh
movie.
yeah, the animated show movie.
Yes,
Right.
which is based off a show that I didn't love. But yeah, I'm really excited for us to watch that together because it's actually super cracked. So,
Yeah.
but yeah,
That has
the
Casey
thing that
Jones, played not by Marky Mark impersonator.
correct. The thing that these 2 movies do so perfectly is the turtles. And I think that's the thing that even
Well, yeah,
the
that's-
later
that's the
90s movies
consistent-
didn't get right. Was
That's
the
the
turtles were
consistent-
wrong.
Yeah.
Is that
No,
the
the
Turtles
90s
were
movies
good.
really only got the turtles right in the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then they were
became
just
like-
all Mikey after that.
Mhm. Yeah.
That's the nice thing about these 2 movies, especially back to back, is they do feel connected.
Back to back.
only
It's been a
because-
month.
No, if you're watching these back to back, they feel connected because
Mhm.
the turtles feel like the same characters.
Even though they
Yeah.
shouldn't feel connected at all because they're drastically different tonally, they do still feel connected because the turtles are great.
Because the turtles are just so well written.
It's the opposite of TASM 2 where Spider-Man feels like a completely different character in both movies.
Yeah.
You know?
Banger.
This
We have
movie
to
does
tell-
what TASM 2 tried to do better.
Yeah.
It even had a better black nerd villain in it.
Sure.
Sure.
Like, yeah. Actually, I don't know. I can't concede that one. Electro was a good villain.
Yeah, no,
in
Baxter
that one.
Stockman was horrible in
Yeah,
this movie.
He didn't even turn into a fly.
Yeah,
Baxter Stockman would have been a better villain if at some point he got injected and he turned into a fly and it showed his teeth fusing together to form the fly.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Baxter Stockman would have been better had they been able to elaborate on his character, but they couldn't. So they
Yeah, Baxter
Well, yeah.
Stockman would have been better if they
If
had
he
just
was there
completely
for-
remade The Fly starring Jeff Goldblum, but it was about
I would
him.
love. I guarantee you that fan film has to exist somewhere.
Yeah,
Just
surely.
just a Baxter Stockman fan film, but it's like The
Yeah.
Fly, about his transformation, and then at the end, like the Ninja Turtles come in and just beat him up. It's like this horrible movie about how horrible he is, and then after at the very end when he agrees
They
to
just
just like
beat the
kill
shit out of
himself, the turtles come in and they just beat the snot out of him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man.
If it doesn't
yeah, no,
exist, let's get bobbing on that.
Yeah.
the movie itself is great. I don't think
It's
anyone
the
else
second
could
best
praise it enough.
live action Ninja Turtles movie. So
Yeah.
Dan, final thoughts?
Mikey didn't dance to Gwen Stefani's Hollaback Girl.
It's
Eh.
Stefani.
that's true.
It's
It's
no, it's
Stephanie.
Gwen. It's Gwen.
Yeah. We didn't do final
It's
thoughts on the
Gwen Stacy.
first movie. Let's do that. The first movie's not as good as the second movie, but it's still pretty good, and you'll enjoy it.
The first one has its charms and it has moments that I wish it expanded upon, but I get why they didn't.
And it's
because of
got
that,
it's real bad
perfectly
Nolan
fine.
syndrome.
Yeah, but
called
Mikey
the Everglades.
Mikey dances to Gwen Stacy's Hollaback Girl. So
The turtles are the best part of the first one.
The
and
Sturtles
they're
are
best part of
the
second one.
Sturtles. The titles.
The
titles are a
the
standout of both.
Turlaws.
The Turlaws are standouts of both.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, they're great. I feel like as a double feature, these would work pretty well.
I don't sit and watch two movies in a row.
Nerd.
Got him, I guess.
All right, this is it. We're done. We don't. It's crazy. We talked about two movies, and this is still one of the shorter episodes
Yeah.
of the podcast. But that's fine. We're just gonna wrap it up here. Thank
It's
you
gonna be
guys for
watching
listening.
these
And we talked about Fan Forster for like half an hour.
That's true. We did talk
Oh,
about
guys,
Fan
about
Forster
three
for a
movies.
minute.
You guys should check out Chronicle and Fonzo, aka.
And also the Spooky Tape EP.
Cool. I just went ahead and muted those guys. Thank you guys for watching this episode of Semi Pro. I'm excited for next week when we talk about Rise of the TMNT, the movie, which I think is a Netflix original, if I remember correctly. Turtles 2 Sweep has been a blast so far, even though we've only done one episode and watched two movies. But yeah, thanks for joining us on this episode of Semi Pro, and we will see you next time. Wow. Oh, I forgot my mic's still on. Whoops.